Hello. For those who don't know me, my name is Brian Kyono, uh, retired member of the San Francisco Fire Department. My career has spanned over 6 chiefs, and I had the fortune or the pleasure of having my father pin me on my graduation from the 86th graduating class in 1993. I retired about 2 years ago. Shortly after that, I've been diagnosed with lung cancer, stage 4. Um, and I just wanted to put together a little something just to be remembered by, I guess.
Always said, if you can make or impact one person's life, it's worth the effort. Here's one thing about Brian Kyono. He lived life to the fullest. He fished. He did not hesitate. He did not wait for retirement to enjoy his life, which is a great lesson for all. As I do tell young firefighters, that do not wait for your retirement to enjoy the things you do. Enjoy one day at a time. He did that. He had over 29 years of service, and he retired in April of 2022 and passed away on September 12th, 2024. Hi, my name is Chad Law. I'm an assistant fire marshal for the San Francisco Fire Department. I've been in the city working for over 26 years, and I'm here to talk about a friend I worked with for over 20 years in the firehouses who just passed away of lung cancer. His name is Lieutenant Brian Kyono, and I'm here to share his story with you. I first met Brian probably in 2000 at Station 13, Battalion 1 in the city, which is Financial District, Chinatown. When I first met Brian, he was welcoming, big smile, very friendly, and a goofball. I knew I liked him right away because he was always there to help people and was generous. He never panicked at emergencies, fires. He was just an all-around good family person. And over the years, we've grown close and actually made Station 2 together in Chinatown and worked many years. I have a lot of stories I want to share with you, share the appropriate ones. He joked a lot. If you parked your car on the apparatus floor and left your keys in the car and the doors unlocked, you would wake up in the morning and try and go home to your family, rush out, but you would hit your knees on the dashboard, or the air condition would be on blast. The music stations had been reprogrammed. He was a good person that just made people laugh and had good energy. BK Brian Kyono was not lacking confidence. He one Christmas party, and we had a lot of good times, but he actually did come out in a kimono, and he wore it with little clogs, and everyone had ties and suits on, but Brian came out, being his Japanese heritage, was super proud that he wore kimono to the Christmas party. That's just an example. We've gone on fishing trips and just laughed and cried and shared life together. I just want his memory to live on and his message to be continued. I'd like to share what he wrote in his journal as the journey through cancer and the diagnosis was extremely difficult for Brian, his family, and myself, as I was lucky enough to be there throughout this process. I'm going to read it to you now as he wrote words down to kind of organize his thoughts. He had a couple strokes, complications, his vision was blurry, then recovered. So it was a big roller coaster of emotions, and it was just really hard. So I'm going to read this now to hopefully share what Brian went through, as our profession calls us to be more brave. And sometimes we can't be. He wrote, "I am going to die. I understand that we are all mortal and we will all come to an end. But when? Getting a glimpse at the end of the road puts a whole different perspective on life. I was diagnosed with cancer, lung cancer, non small cell, moderately aggressive pulmonary adenocarcinoma. Oof. I may have added a word or two, but it's lung cancer. Left lobe, a small speck on my right rib upgrades the level to stage 4. Stage 4. I always understood that stage 4 was terminal. When I saw my UCSF oncologist for the first time, I was expecting him to tell me how many weeks I had to live. I was relieved to hear not only had I had more than 2 weeks, but most likely years. Years! Not to be skeptical, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'm still scared. Did I say I'm scared? Hell yes, I'm scared. But of what? I remember a line Adam Sandler said in the movie, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. I'm a fireman. I'm not afraid of anything. Throughout my career as a firefighter, chief's operator, or lieutenant, I've been in situations where I've thought, oh shit, but I've never been scared like now. Whenever I go, sooner or later, I will leave a hole, a small hole, a memory, some pictures. But who knows when that will be? Will I go before or after my wife Donna, my brother Doug, any of my close friends? Who knows? That's why I'm scared. And I've never been scared like this, ever. Uh, I'm sharing this because I was with him as he wrote this, and we talked a lot on how in the old days, earlier days in firefighting, we were not as comfortable admitting we were scared or anything could hurt us. I'm hoping, as Brian was going to volunteer to spread the word on using protective gear, cleaning your gear, adhering to the protocols of overhauling and monitoring our air as we overhaul and salvage buildings. Actually, I have a story for you. It's kind of funny in a sense. No animals were really hurt in this story, but we did have a fire in Chinatown on Pacific. It was a hair salon. And there was a big fish tank, an aquarium. And we extinguished the fire. We were both on the truck. So we were overhauling for hours, cleaning up, vacuuming. We get back to the firehouse. I reach in my pocket, and something is weird and slimy in my turnout coat. It's a fish, a big giant fish that Brian put in my pocket, as he tends to do those funny things. I immediately put it in water. It coughed, little, I don't know if fish cough, but little black speck came out of the lungs and it started swimming around. These are the things as we go through our career that balance our lives when we see stressful things and all that. When we first came in the fire service, we always had a saying 30 years in and 30 years out, which means you work for 30 years and then you retire for 30 years. And that is a big deal. These days, we are not reaching that goal. I think the message here is just to be real and not be ashamed of using clean turnouts. In the old days, it was a badge of courage. I have my original turnout coats and pants that we used to wear to fires, and less reflective gear on there, or less reflective it was, it meant you were worked at fires and you overhauled and you got dirty. We used to wear these by our beds. We didn't have protocols, the safety protocols they have now, where you have to clean the turnouts and scrub it out. And so there's a lot of lessons to be learned here for the future generations. Back in the old days as well, we didn't have a decontamination policy for at the fireground scene, at the firehouse. Right now, currently, there are many decontamination protocols that should be follow through with, especially at the fire ground. We did rinse off things, but the soot and stuff from your shoes, but what happens is it tracks. It usually tracks into the rig, which tracks into the firehouse, which tracks to your bed. So it's important to follow all those safety protocols and take time for it, because in the long run, it adds up. All the fires that Brad and I went to, it wasn't just one, it was multiple. It was the carcinogens from the turnouts, from the plastics and the fires, which all bioaccumulates.
My name is Donna Kyono, and I am the wife of Brian Kyono, 58 years old, and he served 29 of those years for the city and county of San Francisco as a firefighter. Brian always told me not to worry. As a first responder, he told me it was all about calculated risk, and I believed him. I just never thought that the calculated risk included stage 4 lung cancer. The fear that Brian talked about was valid. And he definitely lived this whole entire situation with a lot of grace and a lot of strength. It happened really quickly, and it was something that we never, of course, planned for. It impacted our lives, not just as a family, but he was big in the fishing community in the Bay Area. He was also, a friend, a brother, an uncle to so many. And this ultimately changed all our lives because he was taken away way too soon. He was about to make a video for the Cancer Foundation. This is one thing that he had always shared with us. If it made a difference in one person's life, go do it, change it, save that person's life. So I want to let you know that we are here as a family to stand behind him and his legacy and to help, if we can, save a person's life. No one, absolutely no one, should be going through any of this. There are resources out there. Take advantage of them. You have your family, you have your firefighting community. Everyone there is out there to support you. Get your diagnosis or get screened really early on. And if you find out anything, do not be afraid of following up, because this is a matter of life or death. It really impacts you how soon you get your second opinion. Don't be afraid of that either. And there are resources, again, and people behind you to help you.
My name is Jeffrey Roy. I'm currently lieutenant in the San Francisco Fire Department, assigned to Engine 18 in the Sunset District. I met Brian 10 years ago when I was a probationary member on Truck 2. And currently, I work in the district where Brian lived with his family in the Sunset District. And I've had the pleasure of working with him at work, off work, a lot of having laughs, enjoying many memories with him. Brian was a special friend to me. When I heard Brian got diagnosed with cancer, it hit me hard. Unfortunately, I come from a background of a family that I've been through some cancer with, and I knew it was going to be a tough road for Brian, but I knew Brian would give it his best foot forward and do the best he could and always fight. Some of my favorites of Brian Kyono are as follows, not in a specific order, is he always had a smile on his face. I can't reiterate how he was always smiling. I couldn't find a picture in all my phone that he was not smiling. Also, playing ping pong with Brian at Station 2, he always had a headband on, and I'll never forget that, playing competitively with Brian and always laughing and having a good time playing ping pong. But probably the most fondest memory I have was lately, within the last month. Brian actually came over to Station 18 and we played a round of Pedro. It was hard for Brian to open up his eyes and feel the dexterity on the cards, but we still got a round in. And I have a picture to this day that I'll never forget about Brian. So I just want to say I miss you. Thanks for coming over that day. And I'll see you again, Brian. Miss you, buddy. For all the newer generations out there, we need to know about 30 and 30 out. Putting your 30 years in is something that Brian did, but Brian only got 2 out. It wasn't fair. It's important to be an advocate for yourself and adhere by all the policies and the procedures that each department has set forward. Some examples include putting the extractor on while you're backing in the fire engine or fire truck, washing your turnouts regularly after every fire, doing a gross decon when you get back from a fire, staying out of service, and properly cleaning yourself in certain high susceptible areas. After a fire, we all know that tools are being used and different types of apparatus. But what we don't know is those tools are not going to get cancer. The individual is going to get cancer. And we are got to be our own advocate moving forward and get 30 in and 30 out. That's imperative that we all get to enjoy our family and enjoy our retirement and spend time with our family and friends.
My name is Tyler LeBeau. I'm a probationary firefighter, San Francisco Fire Department. I'm finishing up my 6 months in my first house at Station 18. I first met Brian working at Station 18. He walked over with his wife Donna just to see everybody. All I knew was that he was a retired Station 2 member. He knew my boss Jeff Roy, and he remembered my name after the first time. He knew. He's like, "Oh, what's up, Tyler?" Every time I saw him with a big smile on his face, and that was my memory of him. That's the one I'd like to keep. And it was kind of sad to see him deteriorate a little bit more, seeing it go from bad to worse a little bit. I was lucky enough that it was on our day. We were able to take him to the hospital that final time. I have family in the city, and I come to this job thinking, who would I want responding to my family? But I treat every patient with respect. But it's different when it's one of your own. It's your people, your San Francisco family, and like he knew everybody. He knew everybody. He had family with the department. He knew his fishing friends. When I was a little kid, he gave some tuna to some family friends of mine. I didn't even know who it was from. And that story only came out a couple weeks ago when I was talking to those same friends. And they're like, "Oh, you know Brian Kyono?" I was like, "Oh, yeah, I do now." Hopefully, going forward, it's a good reminder. His lesson will live on of just protecting yourself, wearing our PPE, wearing our Scots when we're doing overhaul, even though it's rough. It's a lot of work, but that's what we train for. Going from the engine time to my truck time, so definitely doing some more overhaul on that side of things, and just remembering that who's going to be with you later when you're suffering. My background, my grandfather was in the department, and he died of lung cancer when I was a little kid, and he worked for 36 years. And member of 23, member of 20, was a driver for a long time. And when I was a little kid, he died almost the same way. And it's kind of sad to see that the next generation with Brian's people, they're dying the same way. And it'd be nice if my generation, now that we have the science and the scientific studies, we got the opportunity for PFAS-free equipment, we have more SCBAs, we have a mobile air unit, we have the air, and we have the decon, and we should be able to use it. And it's really important that our generation changes things, just to keep us going. I know my family was devastated by that loss at a younger age too, and how my mom was growing up. And holidays are different. I know that the difference is going to be for the Kyono family as well. Everything's going to be different. So I mean, hopefully we use those lessons, and going forward, we are really careful.
When the fires go out, it's great for the public. Our policies are meant to protect our members and maximize your retirement. Some things we cannot prevent out in the field. It's a very dangerous profession. Many things we can. And I think the key is to keep talking to each other, believe that these protocols that have been established through OSHA, through many examples, not just Brian's, but many of the firefighters that have passed of cancer, please learn from these lessons. Here is your call to action. Be agents of change. Extend your career. Enjoy your retirement.
Hello. For those who don't know me, my name is Brian Kyono, retired member of the San Francisco Fire Department. My career has spanned over 6 chiefs, and I had the fortune or the pleasure of having my father pin me on my graduation from the 86th graduating class in 1993. I retired about 2 years ago. Shortly after that, I've been diagnosed with lung cancer, stage 4. And I just wanted to put together a little something just to be remembered by, I guess.